unfortunately. I've been looking forward to this interview, mate,
Yes,
for a range of different reasons. But our next guest, Max Gandziuk, is from the Ukraine.
Yeah.
He's a canoe sprinter, so not a sport that we know so much about here in Australia.
Yeah.
But anyway, Max, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, it's a great story in some ways, and in other ways it's a tragic story. Of course, we're talking about the war that broke out between Russia and the Ukraine over 12 months ago. That in itself is disgusting. But we don't want to get into the politics so much, more that you had to relocate as a refugee and finished up here in Adelaide. Just tell us a little bit, the viewers, just a little bit of that journey of when the war started to arriving in Adelaide.
So when the war started, we basically as young athletes, we were told to leave Ukraine, and we spent quite a long time trying to get to Estonia, spending a few nights in Poland, like a refugee center, and then we've spent over a month waiting for Australian visa, and then once we get a visa, we flew over to Sydney to our relatives' but then after attending nationals in Adelaide, we really loved it so much here, and we decided to move here to do more canoeing.
Wow. It's an amazing story. It got me when I heard that the young athletes were told to leave. Just say, hey, get out. You guys need to get out. Why is that? Well, why isn't everybody getting out? Why is it just the athletes, do you think? What's going on there?
Top athletes were advised to leave Ukraine to be safe and to be able to keep training, as you can't train on rivers now in Ukraine because of war and some other things. So, yeah.
Mate, you're 100 kilometres at home for you in Svitlana, which is 100 kilometres from the biggest nuclear plant in Europe, and the war's about to start. It's probably a good time to get out, isn't it? Was it scary? I mean, how long did you have? I want to get onto your 6 gold medals. You want to get onto your canoe sprinting, but how long did the war starts? How long before they say to you, you need to get out, or do they tell you before the bombs started coming?
Oh no, it was the first week of the war. I'm basically doing a training camp once the war started, and then I got a message saying, oh, let's not train today and see what happens. And then in a few days' time, I had a message from my coach saying, you'd rather train with some other Ukrainian coaches overseas and be safe and see how it goes.
So you go home, talk to your mum. So you live with your mum and your grandmother. You go home, talk to them, and they go, okay, well, we need to go. You get to Poland, as you said, you had to go through the refugee camps, but your grandmother doesn't come. It's just you and your mum that make the journey then. Is that a tough time? How difficult saying goodbye to grandma?
Oh yeah, it was pretty difficult.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And you still contact with her now? She's safe and it's all good? All right, let's get on to the good stuff. Good stuff. We've had enough of that, and it made nothing but admiration for you and your mum coming out here and the way you have. But then you go and compete at the Nationals and win 6 gold medals.
Yeah.
And now we're a chance to represent Australia in Italy, but the funding is a problem because obviously when you leave, you don't bring a lot of money with you. So we'll talk about the GoFundMe pages. What made you come? So you came to Adelaide for the championships, then decided to stay. The main reason, other than Adelaide's a great city for you?
And we have quite a big canoe community here, the biggest, I think, in Australia. So I just decided to move here and to train with the best in Australia.
And you're talking about West Lakes here, which is like you say, it's a huge canoe community down there with some very, very good coaches as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think the decision would have been all that hard, Phil. Once you get into Adelaide, and it's a great city to live in anyway, but to have that sort of support, that West Lakes rowing and whatever, that's a massive support base there. So you'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
And what about the GoFundMe? I've got to get onto that because
the GoFundMe
we want
page?
this guy to go.
Yeah,
we want
100%.
this guy to go to Italy.
Yep.
How's that travelling? Is that building?
Yeah, it's slowly building. I get quite a few money once I get on some other news and newspapers, and then it just kind of stops a bit. But I hope we'll be able to race the rest to go to Italy.
How do we get onto the GoFundMe
How do we
page?
get onto it, mate?
How do we tell the viewers to get onto GoFundMe page and give Max some money? How do we do that?
It is called Help Max to paddle his way to Junior Worlds.
Okay.
And I think you can find it on a GoFundMe page.
On the GoFundMe? What's it cost to go to the Junior Worlds?
I'm not entirely sure, but I'm aiming to raise 10,000.
10,000.
Yeah, to have some money to to cover traveling and all the tickets bookings. But we still have only been sent one invoice from Paddle Australia, and still expecting for another one.
Yeah, okay.
Because if we don't get this, it's going to really dent an Olympic charge
Absolutely.
that we're on here.
Yep.
Because if we don't get to Italy, that's going to
Impacts
really
on
set
Paris.
back
Yep.
your Olympic dreams. So we need to get you to Italy. Well, we do. And, you know, folks, if you're watching this right now, and you are, I know you are, we need to support this guy. But we need to
100%.
get him there.
Yep.
It's a great story. And the GoFundMe is all terrific, but there's got to be other people out there that might want to get involved as well.
Oh, I think they need to all get involved. Hey, Max, tell us about your training. How many times a week you're down at West Lakes training?
I'm training almost every day. It's only Sunday off.
Yep.
So during the holidays, we did 9 paddles a week, and 3 to 4 gyms and a few runs as well. But now we are down to 7 paddles and 3 gyms and a few runs.
How far's what's an average week of paddling? How far do you reckon you'd paddle on an average week?
I paddled over 200 kilometers in 2 weeks on holidays.
Yeah.
I don't go that far on my holidays.
He doesn't go that far in his car.
That's right.
So, Max, you've got to go to school as well. You're at Henley High. How are you finding fitting into school and fitting into your canoe training?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy. It's hard to train and to do all the school stuff at the same time, but I'm kind of find some ways to do it, and yeah.
So your English is pretty good. So did English studied back in the Ukraine?
Yeah,
Yep.
I studied English for about 10 years in Ukrainian school.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, it's better than your English, Phil. At the
Well,
moment, he's doing really well.
It's probably not a lot for Max to brag about, but and you found settling into Adelaide pretty easy? The weather, climate, all pretty good for you?
Yeah, and with support of Association of Ukrainians,
Yep.
it was much easier to have settled here, and yeah. And the rest is fine, the weather is pretty good, except some winds here, which are really blowing a lot on the West Lakes.
Yeah, when it gets blowing. So were you trained in the Ukraine? Different?
Yeah, it didn't used to be as windy as often.
Cold? Does it get colder there in the winter?
Yeah, you probably can't paddle in Ukraine because it's ice.
So what in the winter, how would you train in the winter?
We either would go to some training camps where it's
Okay, yep.
Warm water so you can train there, or we would just do gym and some more running.
Oh, so simulate it in the gym, okay.
I've got to ask Max, what have you found different about Australia? What got you? What's going on there? Does anything jump out at you?
Not sure.
Not sure.
The food?
Oh yeah, first.
You like the food?
I don't know. It's just different.
Yeah, it's different. And no paddling in the ocean where the sharks are. We stay on West Lakes. We don't get out on the beach, do you?
No.
No, see, smart. Hey, Max, we really appreciate your time, mate. It's a great
luck, mate.
story, and you certainly deserve all the support we can give. You need to get onto the GoFundMe page or get in touch with us. Max is going to be a superstar for Australia and for the Ukraine. We need to support him and make sure he gets to Italy for the World Championship. Stay with us. Still more to come.